Greetings, everyone. This is Mike again with part two of our little presentation, Connecticut Cannabis, Real Names, Real Medicine. Today, we're going to get into some of the details and help you to match some of the cannabis strains that you're using now that may not be in the shelves or available right now with something that you will like. So, as promised, what we're going to do in this presentation is to take a look at some of the cannabis strains that are available for Connecticut medical patients. Um, as it says on the side, they're all different. It's not just sativa versus indica. As I said in the first presentation, terpenes are the key. We'll take a detailed look at that today. And then, of course, you did your homework first of looked at Dab and Dad, and then that is the cross reference versus the street names, and then I'm going to look at some specifics. As I had said, and I'm sure you all know, we have four different growers in the state of Connecticut. We have Connecticut Pharma, we have Cureleaf, AGL, and then, of course, Theraplant. What you're looking at here is a list first of Connecticut pharma strains that people may recognize, especially somebody my age and stuff. We first start out with, as I had mentioned before, Panama Red, which has been available, called Panavin. Um, this next one, Garcia Van, Casey Jones, a very good daytime, and again has some pain as well as some inflammation help. Is called Garcia Van. Hey, there's a little clue. I had mentioned these next two, and we'll look at these a little bit in detail in a little bit. White Widow, Arachnidex, and Northern Lights, Boralex, which recently, as a matter of fact, up here in southeastern Connecticut was available. Some of you may know Cinderella 99, that's Signix in Connecticut. Durban Poison, a lot of people will know that's Durban X, Jack Herr. Again, a great daytime strain is in Impaired X. ACDC, again, going back to the CBD, is Equidex. My one of my former morning strains, but it's not available anymore, was Greta Lex or Green Crack. Again, that's a well-known strain. I mentioned Lemon Skunk, which is Lexicon, and then the title of the movie, and probably this may be one of the most famous strains. And yes, it is available in Connecticut. It is called Pinedin. The air plant has a couple of things you may recognize, and then we're going to start into repeats. Again, that's going to tell you something about that strain. So I had mentioned before Avangiva, which is Sour Hulk, a little bit of Sour Diesel, as well as Bruce Banner. And that's all also sold as Alutiva. Aniva is Colorado Flow, again, a good daytime. MacBrid, again, we're talking about medicine here. It has a wonderful terpene profile, and this is going to play a little place later on in the overall medicine side of things. Things like Mac V2. Obrid is White Widow, as we talked about with the other strains before. Songreka is Sour Diesel, and Sour Diesel will show up a couple of times. Squiblica is Girl Scout Cookie, again, one of the most famous strains. And their Tyleva is Wild Thailand. I like that. That's one of the a combination of two strains from Thailand. One's one of the original landrace strains. Now, here's a look at some of the AGL oldies. Again, remember the funny, naming system. But cannabidiol I is Canasu. Again, another real important CBD that'll come up later. Hybridol L, LA Kush. Hybridol TU is Gorilla Glue. I had mentioned that in the last time. I wish they've had that around. Recently, they had available, I think it was new for them, Indica called DOS, DOS, which is do-si-do, again, a good nighttime. as well as indica L, another great nighttime, and it has a few extra things in it we'll talk about later. Granddaddy Purple. Jack Herer here shows up again as Sativerin CD, and then a lot of people's all-time favorite, and probably is mine as well, Sativerin D, is Blue Dream. Okay, as we get to Cure Leaf, again, you're going to see a repeat of things, and there's something and there's a reason for that. Amethyst is Granddaddy Purple, Bianca's Canasu, we just saw, Blue is Blue Dream. Another good daytime is the Emerald or Hazel Ghost Train Haze. Godina, I wanted to just take a second on this one. It's called God's Gift. People, if there was one indica that I could pick out of all of them, one of my favorites has been this Godina. Again, a little bit, probably in another presentation, we're going to look at the terpene profile for that, and again, look at some of the medicines in there. Gold is sour diesel, which we talked about before, and then we got to stop again at HH Red. Haley's Hope or Haley's Hallelujah, that is the story of a young girl who had epileptic fits. And HH Red was the thing that they tried with her, and it took her from 100 convulsions in a day down to one. And that's HH Red. We'll talk more about that when we get into the CBD side. Again, there's Jack Herer. It's Jade, Northern Lights, nighttime. That's Lumen. Wedding Cake, another nighttime. That's Micah. And then there's Girl Scout Cookie. Okay, so let's look at some of these strains and where the terpenes start to match up. Now, some of the ones that you know. Lexican, the main ones in there are myrcene. We're going to take a look at what they all do. Caryophyllene, limonene, and linalool. In Blue Dream, as well as Strawberry Cough. Now, again, here's where the match is going to start. Their three primary are myrcene and then pinene, as well as caryophyllene. Sour diesel has caryophyllene as the predominant terpene in that, and then myrcene and limonene. Again, what order they're in, we'll talk about. Northern Lights is again an indica, and so it starts with myrcene and then caryophyllene and limonene. As you can see with Lexican, it's a similar setup, but one would be an indica, one would be a sativa, and so you'll see within the terpenes that they can do different things. And then White Widow, again, the daytime side of that is myrcene, caryophyllene, and pinene. Now, one of the things that we're going to take a look at in a little bit is even some of the ones that you're not going to see, where even their small amounts will still work in that key uh, part that you saw on the videos about the endocannabinoids, where they're going to match up. So even in some of the cases, and we'll look at it in a second, some of the very small percentages, it still is going to make the connection from a medical standpoint. Okay, so to start out with, we'll take a look at one that didn't show up in the ones I took a look at earlier, but is one of the main terpenes in Girl Scout cookie, and it's terpinolene. Again, it might be a minor one in some of the others, and we'll look at that in a second. But you can see what some of the properties of this are, some of the effects. It'll work as an antioxidant, antibacterial, central nervous system depressant, a sedative, potential anti-cancer agent, and reduce the risk of heart disease. Nice little list here. Okay, for limonene, which you see in a lot that I've mentioned already, look at what it can do for you. Does elevated mood and stress relief. We could all use that. It's anti-inflammatory. Everyone on the planet needs that. Anti-diabetic, antiviral. It has gastroprotective effects. Like I mentioned in the session, the last one about between these types of terpenes and CBD, it's a very effective medicine for nausea and some belly problems. Limonene works as an antioxidant and it has gastroprotective effects. Looks like I repeated that one, and then potential anti-cancer. Now, with caryophyllene, here's where, from my standpoint and my medical challenges, pain reduction is the big thing because I've used cannabis instead of opioids to deal with neuropathy that I have. Again, inflammation reduction we all need. It works as an antioxidant and antibacterial. Again, that's a good thing for everybody to have in their system. And then it will also work to reduce anxiety, lowers cholesterol, and treats seizures. You saw pinene show up in a couple of those, and you'll see it in a second in some of the terpene profiles I'll show you. And again, you can see how overall effective this terpene in your body from pine needles would be. Acts as an anti-inflammatory, promotes pain relief, aids in memory and respiratory function, may reduce the spread of bacteria and viruses. It increases attention and alertness and plays an important role in learning and memory. And then it makes you, again, on the sativa side, energetic, euphoric, there's a little bit of the high part, and creative. Okay, now I want to show you a couple of the minor, when we say minor, very small amounts in a lot of the strains. But you can see some of the effects that it'll add to the other ones. And as I said, it works as a key system that it just needs to be present. And between the couple of inhalations that you'll make with this, you will get enough in your body, in this case, for a mood calming, again, for both, again, in a sativa thing, anti-anxiety and mood calming is going to help you getting work done and not freaking out about it, as opposed to with an indica, helps you relax at the end of the day. Again, this one has things to help with skin inflammation, reduces skin irritation, and promotes wound healing. Now, the last one we had talked about in the first presentation as a minor terpene, but look again at this one, I think it's pronounced guanol. Again, you take a look at it; it's spelled properly, but you can see there again it adds to the reduction of pain, along with some of the other terpenes, restrict inflammation, kills parasites, protects the body from free radicals, a nice little extra, and protects from cancer growth. You can see some of these minor terpenes become a big player in the terpene profile in general. Now, this slide starts to put this thing all together. For instance, if we have chronic pain issues, we want to take a look at, as you saw from the illustrations earlier, with strains that have caryophyllene, limonene, linalool, and myrcene. For inflammation, we use myrcene and CBD. For focus, again, now we're looking at the Lexicon, the lemon skunk, that has alpha pinene that is going to help in the limonene with that, in addition to things to help you chill, which is the anxiety stuff you see down there, the caryophyllene, limonene, linalool, and myrcene. Up in the right-hand corner was the sleep, and you can see there the four or actually five things with CBD that work very well at night. Again, as I said, with some of the stuff in a sativa, it works one way, and in a indica, it works the other. For depression, limonene is very good, and then for nausea, it's CBD. And again, I'm going to do some stuff on that a little bit later. Now, here's the matching part. And you can see how this works, where what I've taken a look at here is some major terpene profiles, and then started matching up the different strains as to which ones should be similar. Um, you see there on the top, you have terpinolene osamine, which is going to become, we'll talk more about that one in another session, another good terpene, and then a thing called transneurolidol along with myrcene. That makes a very unique thing called Jack Herer, a wonderful daytime thing to clear your head, make you actually help you to be creative, as you think and so forth. You have some of the basics again for good medicines with a lot of things in there with myrcene, pinene, caryophyllene as a combination in Cannabis, which is a combination of, again, CBD with a thing called sour tsunami, and that's where the Sioux comes from. Blue Dream is a similar thing, a thing called mimosa and Novalex, which in in the Connecticut side of things, I want to get it right. That's a Connecticut pharma strain that puts together Blue Dream and then Northern Lights, which is a wonderful combination. So again, these terpenes work differently in the two different types of cannabis, either sativa or indica. There you see Girl Scout cookie, in addition to being terpinolene, it's the fourth one that would be listed there. You have myrcene and limonene, and then Lexican is in the same category, along with sour diesel. A thing called lemon OG Kush, and I'll have to look at, and you can do the matches as we did earlier. We'll look at that in a minute, a little bit more. And then the thing called Gorilla Glue. Um, with limonene on top, again, a good thing for in some of these cases in the daytime to get you through these things and chill and don't freak out as you're working, as opposed to in the nighttime in God's gift. That's going to help you at night with limonene, caryophyllene, and pinene. There you can see Panama Red for the ones that I put together has a unique, profile. You could see again, look, there's three different things for the pinene, limonene, caryophyllene. That's again daytime. Strawberry cough and sapphire, very similar. Have even decongestant type things to help you cough up if you have sinus draining and all that. So they're a wonderful morning thing as well as MAC V2. Um, Myrcene, limonene, caryophyllene, and the meat breath and fire OG. There's Pineapple Express we talked about at one time with White Widow and Green Crack. Again, the morning stuff that you want to have with myrcene, caryophyllene, and then pinene is, again, good for a lot of things. Northern Lights at nighttime, as long as the Bruce banner. Remember, we talked about the Hulk part of it. And there you see its combinations. Unique one for Three Kings is called, I'll think of it at some time and what it is. It's a Connecticut pharma combination, and we'll figure that out there. You see, while Thailand matches with Florida strawberry and those terpenes, and then again, what do? You go back to what we just looked at as far as the traits. There'll be another slide coming up. And then we have myrcene, caryophyllene, and humulene are in blueberry cheesecake and a thing called Casey Jones that we had looked at Garcia Van, remember, the other day. Okay, so this is how it works, and this is how the matching was going to go. This strain is called Strawberry Lemonade. It's in Connecticut, Sativarant STL, made by Advanced Grow Labs. You can see that it's a 26 THC. It also has a little bit of CBD, but look at the terpene profile. You got pinene, which we talked about, camphene, something different. Myrcene, some more pinene, again, two different ones, alpha and beta. There's no carine or terpenine, but there's limonene in there, ocimene, terpinolene, linalool, caryophyllene, humulene, neurolidol, and transneurolidol. So there's 11 different terpenes in this. Now, I just recently found out that a lot of the places only test for 30, and there could be up to 55 in these. Very interesting. Now, you can see with that terpene profile, what is it going to do? In this case, this particular strain is energizing, daytime, euphoric, makes you feel good, uplifting, does some pain relief, takes care of depression, to help you feel better, as well as fatigue. Nice little combination. All right, so here is Northern Lights called Borlex. So you can see the terpenes that are listed in here. And what this combination does, people, and you who have tried this will know that in addition to helping you sleep, it helps you clear your mind, not just, give you a blank, but to clear your mind and then maybe focus on a little bit more. On the daytime, that's what lemon skunk can do for you. Again, these combination of terpenes within here, very similar to that. On the nighttime, it would be Borax or Northern Lights. So you would want to look for other strains that have this grouping of terpenes. Here is lemon skunk, and you can see that in this particular case, a lot of them are the same as we just had in the last slide, but this is with a sativa, and so it will do the same thing, clear your mind, help you get over some of the stress, but also then motivate you and give you the energy to get through your day. Now, hopefully some of you did your homework and looked at a video relative to endocannabinoid system. Pretty fascinating. I've had a couple doctor friends of mine look at this. Of course, didn't ever see that in school when they went, and again, they were fascinated. It is a body system, just like the nervous system, the digestive system. You can see that it regulates, and you saw from the videos, mood, appetite, pain. It helps with the immune system, as we've been talking about with the terpenes, sleep, energy, inflammation, memory, and reproduction. You saw there they had different receptors, and that's just within the body system, the central nervous system, with the CB1 affecting one thing, the CB2 receptors, along with enzymes modulating some of the other parts of what the endocannabinoid system does to maintain homeostasis. That is the big word. That is your bonus question on the test, where you get 50 points. That is what this is all about. Cannabis and how this works, from a medicine standpoint, simply tries to put things in balance. You can't overdose on it and go to sleep. But otherwise, it is trying to make your body balance itself by the key system that you saw on the video, by making the body produce more melatonin, more serotonin, or less of those types of things, and therefore make you feel better. Okay, I want to start wrapping up this part two there, and where I'm going to talk a little bit more and even do some demonstrations relative to during the research, I came to find out about, um, let's call it dosing. Now, take a look at this slide. It says you don't need to take such big hits. And we'll show you some illustrations relative to how, at least my experience has been with people lighting the entire surface of the bowl instead of a little corner. The fact is, when you look at the respiratory side of things, the surface area of the lungs is half the size of a tennis court. So once you fill your lungs, and and then I'll talk about it in a second, you don't have to hold it that long. You will get your proper dose. So this is that slide where, like I said, I checked into and talked to some pulmonary specialists and to doctors about the specifics of how this works. As I said, you do not need to take these huge hits that makes you cough. You can, and again, we'll do a demonstration in another version. And you only need to count 1001, 1002, 1000, breathe, and you've made all the connections for the keys that you saw in the endocannabinoid system. You would make all the connections for all those things that transfer and work for you. So, and then the other thing that I learned that I've never done is you should wait the time it took to probably pass a joint to a couple people to then take the next hit. So your lungs are prepared to again receive another dose. Okay, the last one here, and again, I'm going to talk more about this in other other sessions. Um, Relative to THC, again, I've been talking to some of the people that work at dispensaries, and people's infatuation with the THC part, and again, the different things between dabbing, the live resins, and some of the other things. People, a 31 is a 31 is a 31. So, in the same way, if you buy a vape pen at a 78, that's no different than the live resin that you're going to dab at a 78 than it is maybe on a powerful keef that is a 78. Again, whether it's a concentrate, a vape, or a flower, it's all the same dose. And we'll talk more about that later. Okay, one last thing, and then I'll flash on my email address, and so in case somebody wants to communicate that way, as opposed to leaving comments for the YouTube. CBD. Right now, we don't have any flower with CBD in at a couple of the dispensaries up here, even though there's been a what's called Summit 4-to-1 disposable pen that everybody to me on the planet would benefit by. Again, we're going to talk more about CBD in another session, but I hope you learned something in this session. Again, if you want to talk about specifics, please leave me a note, and otherwise, have a happy day.